Welcome to Facts by Michael, the place where truth is stranger than fiction. Today we explore a fascinating question. Why do so many of history's greatest minds get labeled as crazy? They invented the future. They challenged the impossible. Yet many were ridiculed, feared, and cast out as lunatics. Is there really a fine line between brilliance and madness, or do we call them crazy because we simply don't understand them? Let's take a deep dive into the minds of the geniuses who stood at the edge of insanity and changed the world forever. Nikola Tesla, the man who saw the future. Nikola Tesla, the father of wireless energy and the modern electrical grid. But what do most people remember? That he claimed to speak with pigeons, even saying he was in love with one, that he refused to shake hands, fearing human skin carried too much bacteria, that he had a strange obsession with the number 3, walking around buildings exactly 3 times before entering. To many, these were the signs of insanity. But Tesla wasn't crazy. He was simply living in a future that the world hadn't caught up to yet. And let's not forget, he once built an earthquake machine so powerful that he nearly brought down his entire lab. Madness or sheer brilliance? John Nash, a mind that saw more than reality. John Nash wasn't just a mathematician. He was a visionary whose discoveries shaped economics, artificial intelligence, and war strategy. But his mind had 2 realities. He believed he was being followed by government spies. He saw hidden messages in newspapers that no one else could decode. He had full conversations with people who didn't exist. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, Nash lived in a world where brilliance and delusion collided. For years, he was locked in psychiatric hospitals, dismissed as insane. Yet his theories went on to win a Nobel Prize. So was he crazy, or was he just perceiving a reality the rest of us couldn't? Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was a billionaire, a film mogul, and an aviation legend. He broke speed records and built aircraft that changed aviation forever. But his mind became his own worst enemy. He locked himself in a dark hotel room for months, refusing to see the outside world. He became obsessed with germs, washing his hands until they bled. He ordered the same exact meal every day, refusing to eat anything that wasn't prepared to his precise specifications. At the end of his life, he was barely recognizable, a shell of the genius he once was. But let's not forget, before his descent into madness, he shaped Hollywood, aviation, and technology. Was his obsession a weakness, or was it the very thing that drove his success? Salvador Dali, the artist who became his own masterpiece. Surrealist artist Salvador Dali didn't just paint the impossible, he lived it. His work defied logic. His melting clocks, dreamlike landscapes, and bizarre creatures reshaped the art world. But his eccentricities made people question his sanity. He believed he was the reincarnation of his dead brother. He once gave a speech in a diving suit, almost suffocating himself in the process. He walked around the streets with a pet anteater, proudly shocking onlookers. Some called him insane. Others called him a genius. But one thing's for sure, he was unforgettable. Why do geniuses seem crazy? Because they see what others can't. When Newton described gravity, people thought he was absurd. When Einstein proposed relativity, scientists laughed at him. When Van Gogh painted Starry Night, no one understood his vision until after he was gone. History shows us one undeniable truth. Madness isn't the opposite of genius. Sometimes it's the fuel behind it. Are you ready to think differently? Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather be a little crazy and change the world, or would you prefer to stay normal and never push the limits of what's possible? The truth is, some of the most brilliant minds in history were once considered mad, but without them, our world wouldn't be the same. And now I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments. Which crazy genius from this video do you find the most fascinating? Or do you know another brilliant mind who was misunderstood? Let's discuss. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the thin line between genius and madness, please consider liking this video. It really helps support the channel. Subscribing to Facts by Michael, so you never miss another mind-blowing story, hitting the bell icon. That way you'll always be the first to know when we post something new. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.